Hello, and welcome to Healing Our Kindred Spirits, gentle conversations for empaths, sensitive souls, and seekers navigating a sometimes overwhelming world. I am Donna Gaudette, and thank you for listening. Today we're talking about the first Mercury Retrograde of 2026 and how it coincides with a powerful full blood moon and a total lunar eclipse. If you've been feeling emotionally heightened, reflective, unsettled, or unusually sensitive lately, you are not alone. In this episode, we're going to explore what Mercury retrograde really means, how the eclipse energy can stir old emotions to the surface, and how these cosmic cycles may impact empathic and spiritually attuned people a little more deeply. But we're going to approach this with calm awareness, not fear, not superstition, just grounded, real world guidance that can be helpful for you. And if you're looking for spiritual insight, emotional clarity, and practical ways to move through this retrograde or really any other time in your life or the eclipse season with more ease and intention, you're in the right place. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's gently explore this together. Hello, my beautiful kindred spirits. Today we're going to talk about something that tends to stir up a lot of emotion and, in all honesty, sometimes a little anxiety for people. We're talking about Mercury retrograde, and not just Mercury retrograde, but Mercury retrograde happening alongside a full blood moon and a total eclipse. Now, before anyone panics, take a deep breath with me. This is not about doom. This is not about superstition. It's not about anything woo woo. And this certainly is not about blaming the planets for everything that goes wrong in our lives. This is about awareness. It's about understanding cycles, both cosmic and internal, and how those cycles affect empathic and sensitive nervous systems. Because whether you follow astrology closely or not, many people notice patterns during these times. Because communication can feel off, there is technology that glitches, even old memories can surface, and people from your past can reappear. We have emotions that can rise quickly. That was evident today when I was on a frustrating phone call with the insurance company. Sleep can feel disrupted. I have had trouble for the last several days sleeping at night, and the nervous system feels tender. And if you're an empath or a deeply sensitive soul, you may feel all of these that are amplified. So, what is Mercury retrograde? Whether you know about it or you're not, let's just talk about it for a moment. Admittedly, I totally missed that we were having Mercury retrograde. Totally missed it. I heard it mentioned on a video I happened to find on Facebook earlier, and I checked, and sure enough, it started on February 26th and it ends on March 20th. It's the first one of 2026. Many people either fear Mercury retrograde for one reason or another, and others, like me, find that my intuition is heightened, my senses are fine tuned, and my creativity knows no bounds. I try to take advantage of this increased energy and sensitivity because it does not happen very often. But before we get too far ahead, let's gently ground this first. Mercury retrograde happens when the planet Mercury appears to move backward in the sky from our perspective on Earth. It's an optical illusion. Mercury isn't actually reversing direction, but energetically and symbolically, it represents review, reflection, and recalibration. Let me repeat that. It represents review, reflection, and recalibration because Mercury governs communication, technology, contracts, travel, thought patterns, and even perception. So during retrograde periods, we often experience miscommunications, delays, misunderstandings, and even revisiting old conversations. But here's what often gets missed. Mercury retrograde is not here to punish us. It's not here to change the past. It invites us to slow down, to rethink, to revisit, and if possible, even to repair. And when you add in a full blood moon and a total eclipse, Now we're talking about deep emotional illumination. So the full blood moon happens during a total lunar eclipse when Earth's shadow gives the moon a reddish tone. Symbolically, full moons represent culmination and release. And if you've heard me talk about the full moon before, you know a little bit about this. And even with the guided meditations I tend to do, and with every full moon. But eclipses represent turning points, endings, revelations, and sometimes even sudden clarity, like you've been bonked on the head. They bring things into the light that we may have been avoiding. So when Mercury retrograde meets a blood moon eclipse, the energy can feel like old emotional patterns resurfacing, conversations that can't be postponed anymore, truths that want to be acknowledged. We have nervous system sensitivity. And mine right here, big one, is fatigue and even heightened intuition. That's a big one for me as well. But for empaths and seekers and sensitive souls, this can feel very overwhelming because you're not only processing your own emotions, you're often processing the collective. And what do I mean by that? During this intense global energy of everything going on in our world right now, collective emotions are loud. There's sadness, there's despair, there's worry, there's fear. There's every there's not enough adjectives for me to describe what some people are feeling, but it is really intense right now. So how does this impact sensitive souls and empaths? So let's talk about what this can actually feel like in real life. You might notice you're more reactive than usual. That was me today on the phone, and I feel bad that I got upset, but I was very reactive. And I'm sorry for that, but I'm only human. You're crying for reasons you can't fully explain. I cry all the time, so no different for me. You feel the urge to withdraw. That's a big one for me this week. You feel overstimulated by noise or people. Old grief resurfaces. You're rethinking decisions. And you're even maybe second guessing yourself. And then the mind starts. We might ask, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get it together? Why am I so emotional? Or maybe someone's telling you that as well. What's wrong with you? Why can't you get it together? Why are you so emotional? Nothing is wrong with you. What you are is attuned. Because during periods like this, your nervous system is processing more data than usual. Mercury retrograde slows the mind. The eclipse intensifies the heart. And the full moon, that illuminates what is hidden. So for sensitive souls, that can feel like standing in a spotlight. And sometimes it doesn't feel very good. So what's the real world side about all of this without the drama? Now let's stay grounded. Let's always remember to stay grounded. This doesn't mean quit your job, end your relationship impulsively, assume every argument is fated, blame Mercury for poor planning. Can't always blame Mercury for everything. Because retrograde seasons are best approached as review periods. And you'll hear people say, oh my God, it's Mercury retrograde. I'm not leaving the house. Some people feel that way, and you're entitled to that, and that is definitely okay. But retrograde season can also bring about change and also even comfort. So think of it like editing a manuscript instead of publishing a brand new chapter, because you can revisit conversations maybe a little bit calmer. You want to back up your technology, double check or even triple check your travel plans, and give yourself extra time for communication and pause before reacting. And a special note, if you're planning to travel, especially right now, the way the world is, I just wanted to give you a little heads up. If you're planning to travel, whether you're doing it in the United States or outside of the United States, if you take any kind of prescription medication, please take extra with you. Some people just take exactly what they need for the amount of time they're going to be gone. But something tells me that I need to advise you on this is just to take extra medication with you, because with Mercury retrograde, there could be delays in travel plans, airlines, uh, tr- travel plans being canceled, airlines canceling flights. There could be a lot of variables. So just to be prepared, you want to be prepared. You hope you never need to, but you're better off to have extra and not need it and not have it. So just keep that in mind. And this isn't a mystical panic. It's practical because you don't want to go without your medication or anything that you might need should you have to extend your your trip a little bit longer. So what are the emotional triggers in old stories? Mercury retrograde can bring that up. Think of like when a wave hits the shore. What does it bring to the shore? All the debris that comes with it, right? The sand, the shells, maybe the broken glass, the driftwood. Things tend to come to the surface when we have Mercury retrograde. And you might notice childhood memories resurfacing, old relationship wounds resurfacing, patterns that you thought you were, quote, done with, unquote. And here's where we get gentle with ourselves. Because, and I've said this before, healing is not linear. It's not. Healing is not linear. You may be good one day, then the next day you're all over the place. Retrograde plus eclipse energy doesn't mean you've failed. It means something is asking for deeper integration. And for empaths, sensitive souls, and even seekers, this can feel exhausting because you tend to internalize everything. And I'm guilty of that as well. You may even take responsibility for emotions that aren't even yours. So, this is the time to ask, is this mine? Or am I carrying something that doesn't belong to me? Think about that for a moment when those things come to the surface. So, what are practical ways that you can navigate this season? So, let's bring this into real life. Here are some grounded ways to move through this period without fear. Nothing that I'm talking about today is to promote or incite fear, it's just practical. So, number one, you want to slow your response time. Not everything needs an immediate answer, especially emotional conversations, whether it's on the phone, in person, or the worst ones by text, because things can be interpreted by text very differently. You want to pause, breathe, and if you can sleep on it, that would be a great idea. Number two, journal before you speak. Retrograde affects communication. Write it out first. Process it privately, then decide, does it still need to be said or addressed or to have a conversation about it? And sometimes once you write it out and you revisit it, you realize that it's just not worth it. Number three, protect your energy. So you want to, especially now, we have a lot going on in the world where it is March 2nd, 2026. Limit the news intake. There's a lot going on, and a lot of people who are sensitive or empaths have a problem with the news only because there's so much of it and it's everywhere all at once, and it can be overwhelming. You want to limit draining conversations. And if you can, spend time in nature if possible. We are in, the tail end of winter, and many of us still have lots of snow on the ground. But if you can get out in nature at all, that would be really something that would feed your soul. The other morning, I was up really early and I was sitting on my sofa, and the windows were closed, but the sun was shining. And I heard the first sounds of a bird singing. And I can't tell you how much that really helped me stay grounded. Even though I wasn't outside to see it or to hear it, I still heard it in my home. And that can be very grounding as well. And if you can quiet your environment as much as you can, that can be really helpful as well. So, number four, expect glitches. If technology fails or plans change, see it as a redirection rather than a catastrophe. What do I mean by that? If something changes out of the technology failing, maybe you need to recheck it to make sure. Maybe you had the wrong date. Maybe you had the wrong time, the wrong flight. Maybe you wrote something wrong down. Just double check it just to make sure. Number five, don't make fear based decisions. And a lot of us are guilty of that. I know I am. Big life choices are best made from clarity, not from emotional spikes. I want to repeat that again. Big life choices are best made from clarity, not from emotional spikes. Don't make a rush to judgment, is what I'm saying. Think about it for a moment if you can. Impulsive decisions often have long lasting consequences, so think wisely. Number 6, reconnect with your body. Eclipse energy can pull you into emotional intensity, but you want to come back into your body. Do some gentle stretches, take a warm bath or warm shower. If you can take a walk out in nature, take a grounding walk and hold something comforting in your hands. And that could be even a crystal. It could be even having your pet close by. If you have a cat, maybe they can sit on your lap. If you have a dog, maybe pet your dog or any kind of other pet you might have. That can be very grounding. So, what's the spiritual opportunity during this period of time? If you are a seeker, someone who is always asking deeper questions, this can actually be very powerful because retrograde invites reflection, because the full moon invites release, and the eclipse invites transformation. But transformation doesn't have to be dramatic or traumatic. And sometimes it looks like maybe finally forgiving yourself, maybe admitting that you're tired and you need a break. Or what about acknowledging that you've outgrown something or maybe someone? Choosing rest instead of pushing forward. And for empaths, especially, this can be a sacred reset because you are allowed at any point of time in your life to recalibrate. So, what about the collective energy and sensitivity? There is something else that doesn't get talked about enough. During the eclipse in the retrogrades, collective anxiety often rises. And we don't have to have our head in the sand and know that we've got a lot going on in our world right now. I'm not going to talk about it or get into it because all of us are aware and this is a safe place, but we can feel the collective anxiety everywhere, whether we're looking something social media so innocuously, just looking at friend's profile. It could be a post. It could be a news flash that comes up. Maybe you're watching the news. Maybe somebody starts a conversation. Maybe you're in line at the store and someone starts talking about it. It's around us and it's not avoidable, unfortunately, but how you respond is in your control because people project, people argue, people react quickly, and everybody has an opinion. And for sensitive souls, that feeling is a ripple effect. So if you've been feeling emotional heavy without a clear reason, you may be picking up on that. Watch your surroundings, watch where you are. If you can limit your time out in public or around people you're not sure of, that would be a really great idea. Because this is when boundaries become essential. I'm not talking about walls, I'm not talking about shutting down, but conscious filtering. Because you don't need to absorb everything, because you can witness without carrying. So, what are some supportive tools for you sensitive souls during the season? So, before we move into closing reflections, I want to share something gentle and tangible. And this may not be for everyone, but I do get a lot of questions from our listeners and our followers about crystals. They want to know which crystal is good for this, what crystal is good for that. What are the properties of this? And Google is a wonderful thing, but I always take the time to answer because I do believe in the energy of crystals. They've been in the earth for millions of years, and I find them very grounding. I myself sleep with a polished rose quartz heart every night. I say my prayers with it, I hold it in my hand, and I sleep with it because to me, it gives me protection. So during these intense energetic seasons like Mercury retrograde, and when we pair that with a full blood moon and a total eclipse, empaths and sensitive souls often benefit from something physical to anchor them. And that could be whatever feels right for you. Because crystals are not magical solutions, they're not woo woo, because intention matters. Everything is based on intention. And sometimes holding something steady reminds your nervous system that you can be steady too. Some people hold crystals, some people hold rosary beads, some people hold little talismans, whatever feels grounding for you. Here are a few crystals that may be supportive if you're drawn to working with them. And as always, clear quartz, amethyst, citrine, those are my go-to stones always. I always have them everywhere. And I have them around everywhere in our home. They're in every room. I love crystals. I love the energy of them. I like the raw crystals and I like the polished stones. So the first one is selenite, and that can be for clarity and emotional cleansing. And selenite carries a soft, luminous energy that mirrors moonlight. When eclipse energy feels emotionally foggy or overwhelming, selenite can symbolize clarity. It's beautiful to keep near your journal during retrograde reflection or even by your bedside when sleep feels disrupted. And selenite is one of those stones you never want to get wet because it is very sensitive to water. Its purpose isn't to erase emotion, but to gently illuminate it without fear. So you simply hold it and say, I welcome clarity without chaos. The second stone, one of my favorites, is labradorite, and that is for protection and transformation. Labradorite is often called the stone of transformation, and its iridescent flash feels symbolic of eclipse energy itself because it feels like light emerging from shadow. And for empaths, especially, labradorite is grounding without dulling your intuition. It can serve as a reminder that you can hear deeply without absorbing everything around you. And during heightened collective emotion, that reminder can be very powerful. So you might hold it and whisper, I remain compassionate without depletion. Let me repeat that again. I remain compassionate without depletion. The next one is moonstone, and that could be for emotional balance. And moonstone is also a very feminine energy stone as well, because moonstone aligns naturally with full moon energy. When emotions rise, as they often do during a blood moon eclipse, moonstone supports flow instead of resistance. And it reminds us that emotions move in cycles because nothing is permanent. And you might place it over your heart and breathe slowly, saying, I allow my feelings to move through me gently. Then we have blue lace agate, which is for thoughtful communication. The throat chakra signifies the color blue. So blue lace agate is great for communication because Mercury governs communication and retrograde seasons often stir misunderstandings or even impulsive reactions, which I did today and I feel badly for that. So blue lace agate carries a soft, calming energy that supports thoughtful speech and patient listening. I'm going to have to keep one by me every time I'm on the phone. If you're navigating a sensitive conversation, you might keep this nearby and remind yourself, I respond with clarity and kindness. I respond with clarity and kindness. Then we have black tourmaline, and that is good for grounding and stability because eclipse season can be destabilizing. Black tourmaline is deeply grounding and it symbolizes staying rooted when external energy feels chaotic. You might keep it in your pocket, by your front door, near your workspace, and simply remind yourself, I am steady even when things are shifting. And let me say this clearly. You do not need crystals. You are not powerless without them. They are simply physical anchors for intention. And for sensitive souls, touching something solid while emotions feel amplified can help regulate the nervous system. If you've ever had a worry stone, it has that little divot for your thumb to go in and constantly to move your thumb around because you're feeling stressed or anxiety, and that helps keep you grounded. Whatever works for you. Because the real power isn't in the stone, it's your awareness, it's your breath, your choice to respond gently instead of reacting quickly. So I'm going to give you some gentle affirmations for this time, for this season. You might quietly repeat, I am allowed to move slowly. I do not have to react immediately. Clarity comes with time. Not everything that surfaces requires action. I release what is not mine. I trust the unfolding. So instead of asking, why is everything wrong or going wrong, you might ask, what is asking to be reviewed? What is asking me to take a look at something again that I may have missed? Instead of saying, why is this so intense? You might ask, what truth is surfacing or coming to the surface that I need to be aware of? Because retrogrades and eclipses are not punishments, they're mirrors, and sensitive souls feel mirrors more clearly. So as we move through this Mercury retrograde and this powerful full blood moon eclipse, I hope you remember this. You are not behind. You are not broken. And you are certainly not too sensitive. Because for empaths and sensitive souls, seasons like this can feel intense, but they can also be invitations. Invitations to slow down, to review, to release, to listen more closely to your own inner wisdom. So if this episode supported you today, I invite you to share it with another empath or seeker or sensitive soul that may need some steady reassurance during Mercury retrograde. And if you feel called, leave a review so this message can reach other sensitive hearts navigating the energy and spiritual transitions as well. Additionally, I have created an original guided mindfulness meditation to go along with this episode, and you can find it where you found this episode and also on YouTube. And there are links at the end of the episode description. So until next time, my kindred spirits, be gentle with yourself. Move slowly, trust what is surfacing, and honor your beautiful attuned spirit, because we're walking this together. And always remember, you are never too much, and you are always, always enough. Thank you.